Welcome to Season 2, Episode 18 of the Traditional Legends Talk Show. I'm Brandy, and I am here with John at Boxwood House in Romney, West Virginia. We're ready to play some Skinnerd, man!
Hey, yeah. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about
Alabama.
Alabama.
To quote Trace Adkins.
Right?
Alabama.
Bama.
Yeah.
Which doesn't cease to amaze me, the wonderful things that we'll be talking about today.
Well, I went to school in Alabama.
You did.
Yeah, for one very brief semester. Now, mind you, we established in the last episode, I grew up in the swamps of Florida. And I went to school in Montgomery, Alabama for a little while, where all the girls went by their first and middle names, wore big old bows in their hair, and everything was just precious.
Some precious.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong, but just not my cuppa.
So a big shout out to Lynette.
Yes.
For commenting on our last episode. Appreciate the feedback, and we'll try to fit in some really weird stuff in here, and so it is a podcast, it is a talk show, but I think you made some good points as far as adding in some content and everything like that to show our listeners what is actually out there,
what we're seeing,
like the weird stuff.
Weird. What was it? How John Candy do that? He was like, weird. Oh, Lord, I just realized what that probably looks like.
Yeah. So, the Wolf Woman of Mobile, Alabama.
Okay, look. I just did a little bit of preliminary research because this began, all right, I get it. It's April Fool's Day. Okay, I totally get that. And this is why the police didn't take it seriously, okay? But
exactly. And this is in 1971.
That's what tweaked my brain.
Yeah.
Okay, we reported on the Goat Man of Maryland. Guess what? That was in May of 1971. We reported on the Bunny Man of Virginia. That was in 1970. Now, here's a couple that we haven't reported on yet because we haven't gotten to Louisiana, Missouri, Arkansas, okay?
Yep.
Momo. July.
I've heard of Momo, yeah.
July of 1971
into
1972. Get this. The Fook Monster of Arkansas, May of 1971.
Okay, so this is making some headway here.
Yeah, question marks.
Because this is similar to, and I've read this, I don't know if you found this, but on February 13th in 1938, the New York Times reported on a resolution to Mobile, Alabama, where the Wolf Woman was.
Right.
The mysterious monster of Fisher Alley.
No, I did not.
A 30-pound, 4-foot creature accused of stalking people in the swamp. You know what it was?
What?
An otter.
What?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the owner shot the owner of one of the properties shot it with a shotgun and killed it.
It was an otter.
Yeah, an otter.
An otter. Yeah, that's right. Just like these aliens are actually these giant screech owls that people are misidentifying.
Yeah, so, it could be the 70s. Peace, love, happiness.
I get that, but
it could be the real deal, though. So you got to have that open mind.
Right, that's the thing. I might question it if it was in communities where drug use was really heavy. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not just talking about a little bit of pot. I'm talking like some heavy duty drug use that's going to make you hallucinate.
Oh, yeah, right? Definitely. Peyote.
Right. Now, the thing is with the Wolf Woman, there were over 50 calls.
Yeah.
So that would be one heck of a rager.
So what happened was in April 8th, 1971, there was, as Brandy said, 50 phone calls to the police, to the Press Register, which is a newspaper in the area. And it was all happening on Davis Avenue.
Yeah.
As well as the Plateau neighborhood.
Correct.
In Mobile. Yeah. So witnesses described the creature as pretty and hairy.
It's like from here up, it's a woman, and from here down, it's a wolf. And
yep.
I don't know. I don't know. And you know what? I didn't even think about this, but I wonder when the full moon was.
Yeah, so the top half was a woman, and the bottom half was a wolf.
Yeah.
So somebody didn't fully change over from a werewolf to a human at that point.
Right. That's...
So, it's kind of interesting.
It's weird. Okay. Here, I just looked it up. The full moon was April 10th. 1971. So it was not.
It was almost to a full moon.
But we were a week and a half away from a full moon. So
April 8th. So if April 10th was a full moon, it was only 2 days away.
Right. Well, the calls began on April Fool's Day, which would have been April 1st.
Ah, got you. The newspaper reported it on April 8th.
Right.
Okay.
And the reason that the newspaper actually reported it is because when the reporter spoke to witnesses,
they were genuine.
They were legit.
They were like, no joke.
Yeah, he says they were literally afraid. And one young man, he came forward and said that this creature came out of the swamp and almost attacked his daddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
who I guess he had broken down on the side of the road or something like that. And I'm just. Some say it was an April Fool's prank.
Yeah.
Some pranksters put a wig on a German Shepherd. Look, you got to be like 3 sheets in the wind to the wind if you think for 1 second that a German Shepherd looks like a woman. I mean, 3 sheets to the wind, really messed up or really desperate. I'm just saying. Yeah. Some say that it was a very well-groomed Afghan hound.
Woof.
Yeah, woof. So I'm not seeing it.
I don't see that happen, especially if you have like a greyhound or something, because you can distinguish
a dog from a
woman, from a woman's top.
I don't want to hear any B words. All right, just saying.
So.
But combined with all these things that were going on in the summer of 1971, this kind of, it's a bit of a head scratcher.
Head scratcher, yeah.
Because it's not just confined to one area.
It was all over the country.
Yeah, it was all over the place. So that's,
Yeah. I think it's just an open-minded thing.
Right.
There was really no reports after that.
Yeah, that was the thing. Disappeared.
Yeah.
Gone. And speaking of disappeared.
Yeah. So, okay.
This is weird.
Orion Williamson in Selma, Alabama.
Yes.
Okay. So first and foremost, it should have been an indicator, Orion. But, in 1854, July of 1854.
Right.
Mr. Williamson was a Selma farmer. Mm-hmm. He was sitting out on his porch with his wife and son. And decided to go tell his workers, take a break because it's freaking hot.
Right. And
July in Alabama. Duh.
Exactly. He walks down from the porch and starts to walk across the field. At that moment, his neighbors, the Wrens, they decide to pay him a visit. He turns, and right there in front of everyone, he's gone.
Waves by and bloop.
Like, literally vanished. And everybody ran over there. They're looking for holes that he could have fallen into and things like that. And they find nothing. And now here's the thing, okay? I tried to find historical background information. I can find no census reports, nothing that any of these people existed. Now, on the one hand, I could argue the Civil War that came along later. Maybe these records were burned, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, that being said, several years later, a journalist and author by the name of Ambrose Bierce, he reran the story, and it kind of took off like an AP News story. It went all over the country. All right. And he was really responsible for keeping this story alive. Now, here's the thing. It's wildly accepted that Ambrose made the whole thing up. Okay. He made up the whole thing. But here's where it gets weird. Okay. Here's the really weird part of this story. In 1913, Ambrose took a tour of old Civil War battle sites, and he made his way down into Mexico and joined up with Pancho Villa because there was a Mexican Civil War going on.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
He disappeared.
Okay.
To this day, nobody knows what happened to him.
So this could be a number of different things. It could be a UFO alien abduction. Bloop,
Okay.
Done. And back then, they could have easily have had cloaking capabilities and
Oh yes.
Different things like that. Where it's like, okay, you picked a guy up, boop, done. Could be a time slip.
Okay. Okay.
It could be something similar to combustion.
Right. My dad just posted about that recently.
Yeah,
People don't spontaneously combust anymore.
Yeah,
Why?
spontaneous combustion. But
Okay.
in the essence of you don't, broop,
Right.
you disappear because,
Well, I mean, it could be something mundane. He was with Pancho Villa. I get
oh yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely down there.
There was a Mexican Civil War going on.
Falling an old mine and you're done.
Well, 1913, General Pershing took some U.S. soldiers that were Asian American heritage down into Mexico. So this was a really big thing. So that's some more mundane. And I decided to go through and look at mysterious disappearances. A great many of them were possible suicides, murders, things like that.
Yeah.
But there were 4 that really raised eyebrows. Okay. 1763, there was a man by the name of Owen Parfitt. Okay. He was paralyzed. He was quite elderly. He had a stroke. He could not walk. He was paralyzed. He was sitting on his sister's front porch. All right.
Okay.
And then suddenly he wasn't.
So, this could be another thing of time slippage or maybe even rifts.
Right.
Where it's like, you get that butterfly effect and all of a sudden that person's not there anymore.
Well, listen to this. There was a Swami leader of yoga, meditation, things like that. Ramalinga Swamigal. Okay. He locked himself in his office in a building. Okay. He told his followers, do not disturb me. I am going to reach nirvana. He went there to meditate, to reach nirvana, this clarity. Locked himself in. Okay. He couldn't get out. 4 months. It took 4 months before they knocked the door down to find an empty office, locked from the inside.
Wow.
Okay. Then there was James Tetford. All right. I don't recall the year, but it's more modern. His wife actually had disappeared, and the spouse did it. He,
Yeah.
So that's the way it went. But ultimately, they couldn't, say yes, he did this, so on and so forth. So he later, once he's cleared all of this, he is on a crowded bus. He has all his belongings. He is moving. All right. He's on this bus. It is crowded. One stop to the next. He falls asleep on the bus. When they get to the next stop, he's gone. His belongings are still there. everything that he had with him, still there. He disappeared. One final one. Barbara Bullock. She was out hiking with a friend. Okay.
Yep.
They're looking at this vista. She goes to hike back down the trail a little bit to do something. Her friend turns around, should have been able to see her. She was gone. Literally,
Wow.
like a split second. There's no way that she could have. And like volunteers came out, they searched the entire area. They had cadaver dogs, they had search and rescue, everything. Could not find her. So there are 4 other instances throughout history of people.
Well, you see this. You see this on shows,
Right.
even
Right.
like
Yeah.
what was it, the 1100 or something like that,
4400.
4400.
Oh, I love that show.
That they disappeared.
Right. And then the aliens brought them all back.
Yeah, all back. Yeah.
Well, okay, if you really want to go with that, what was it? Flight 11 out of Florida. That was one of the most famous or infamous, however you want to say that. So there is a precedent of human beings just vanishing.
Now this could be, this could be time related. This could be quantum related. This could be a number of different things. But, you just have to maintain that open mind because it's out there. It's mind blowing.
Exactly. And if you have never read the Celestine Prophecy series, the entire book series, as it moves forward through the series, it talks a lot about using your intuition, meditating, raising your vibration. And there was this tribe that they were talking about in, I think it was Central America. I'm not entirely positive on that one. But they meditated and they reached such a high level of energy.
Yeah, that you can monitor it and you can monitor it through
they just stepped
different
out.
piece of equipment. Yeah.
They literally just stepped out and walked into another dimension. Like they just evaporated. So one has to consider that because there are times, and I kid you not, where I'm just off daydreaming, and this has happened in the past, and I'm not paying attention to anybody. I'm just off in my own little world. And people have literally walked right by me, and the second I say something, it's like, oh my God, where'd you come from? I've been sitting here the whole time,
Yeah.
So I do believe
so then
that.
then you have the other. This all goes into the quantum physics of it all. You have those doppelgangers, or you have those, those spirits.
Like the teacher.
Like the teacher out in the yard,
Right.
reading a book while she's teaching
She's
in
still
the,
teaching.
So it's all weird. So, other weirdness too.
Ghosts?
The ghost of Sally Carter and the Cedarhurst Mansion
In Huntsville,
Alabama. Is this another weird and woolly tale of was it real or not? There's a lot of people that say yes.
Right.
There's a lot of people that say, yeah, I lived there.
Well,
And the main reason why they're covering up and hiding it now
Mm-hmm.
is because of vandals and people that are being a little wonky.
That is true. That is true. But let's go into the background first. So Cedarhurst was built in the 1820s.
1820s.
It was actually relatives of Sally Carter.
Yep.
She was visiting her sister and she got sick and died. It's unspecified what happened.
And that is the main reason why you
Yeah.
can't really find any records of her living there or in the area, because she visited.
Right. She was visiting. Yeah. She got sick. She died. Now,
at the age of 16.
Yeah. So she was quite young.
Yep.
Look, a female at 16. Here's the thing. Even if there was a census record, it would not have said her name. It would
Daughter
have said
of. or something like that.
No, it wouldn't even have been said that. It would have been the homeowner and then a check mark of how
Gotcha.
many females, how many males. And at that point, it would have been how many white females, how many black females, So there wouldn't have likely even been her name.
Because this is 1837 we're talking about
Right.
at the time when she passed.
Yeah, so there wouldn't have even been a name. And also further, as I said, the Civil War. Hello. In the South, everything got burned.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Everything.
So let me tell you something. This is a real reason why Southerners don't like Northerners. Because we saw what happened to our ancestral land. It got burned.
Yeah, especially in Alabama, because they swept from the Mississippi over to Louisiana and burned everything in the wake.
Right. And here's what I'll say. People are like, well, in the South, there are slave owners. You know what? Don't come burning down my house because my neighbor did something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they burned everything down.
Exactly.
Towns, cities.
Yeah. So,
because, it was strategically the way to do it, because then you would take a lot of attention off the main lines of the battle up top, up north. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to bring troops down south to protect, because you have all these
because all that was left down there were
around.
like the elderly women and children.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they were getting attacked.
War.
Bad.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
anyway, so back to Carter. Sorry, that was another little rabbit hole.
No worries. So,
fast forward to 1919.
Yep.
There was a young man, 17-year-old boy. He was visiting from Dothan, Alabama, and he was sleeping either in
the mansion,
in Carter's old bedroom or near her bedroom. But in the night, there was a thunderstorm, and the ghost of Sally Carter woke this boy up.
Yep.
And she said, the storm blew over my headstone. Can you please put it back up? So the next morning, he tells his family, and they laughed at him. They're like, boy, you crazy. Mm-hmm. You didn't see no ghost.
You're just dreaming.
Yeah, you were dreaming. And he kept insisting, like, fine, we'll go to the cemetery. We'll show you. Well, guess who got shown? That's what I'm saying.
They found her gravestone knocked over. Then in 1982, they decided to move the family, the three children associated with the Carters.
Well, they had to.
Yeah.
Because, one, people claim to have seen her ghost at her gravesite and at the mansion. And the legend was so popular in the 60s and 70s that there was vandalism.
Of course there was.
There were pranks.
Of course there was.
And then occasionally the fire department had to be summoned because they actually started a fire in the garage of the mansion. So it does not surprise me that in 1982 they exhumed.
You had to exhume or exhume them,
the whole family.
Yeah, and then move them to the cemetery.
Somewhere else.
And they didn't record where they put her. So
I think the family probably knows, but they didn't tell anybody
and now
else.
The mansion is actually
reason.
Protected.
Right.
It's got a 24/7 security system and everything like that.
Now, there is a photograph that supposedly shows Sally Carter the ghost of Sally Carter standing on the porch of the mansion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
we're gonna have to find out if we can find it.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Well, so
cool.
yeah. So do you believe in ghosts? Have you seen the ghost of Sally Carter?
Love to hear it. If you
Yes, absolutely. That would be super cool.
So
super cool.
Next week we will be traveling to Mississippi.
Mississippi.
M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I.
You want to know how I learned how to spell it? M-I, curricular, I, curricular, I, humpback, I. That's how I learned.
So As always, please remember to rate, review, subscribe to, or follow this podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Brandy.
And I'm John. Enjoy, everyone. Enjoy.